Let's get a quick take on this last topic. The sentence of 2 years in jail with work and school release for a former CU student who was found guilty of sexual assault made national headlines this week. The sentence is being compared to the case of a Standford student who received a 6-month sentence for rape earlier this year. Halisa, your quick take on this. I imagine this is going to make more and more national headlines, being such a light sentence.
Right. I think it's appalling. And furthermore, I believe that I'm gonna go there, if he were black, if he were one of the football players, that he would have gotten sentenced. I mean, statistics point this out. Black males get the mandatory minimum at least 60% of the time, 2 to 3 times more likely than their white male counterparts. So we know that that's probably going to be the case. The other thing that is disturbing is that just like when President Obama got into office, we saw a lot more racism than we did before. My concern is now with Secretary Clinton on the top of the ticket that we will see a lot more misogyny. This is a sign of that. And why we don't take this more seriously when we know that sexual offenders, more likely than not, always repeat. And then the judge even said that he seemed to be in the courtroom with a sense of entitlement. So I don't see the remorse. I understand not wanting to necessarily ruin someone's life, but this is serious. This is a serious crime, and I think that he should have gotten a prison sentence.
Patty, some prosecutors said that if you don't like these light sentences, that the law needs to be changed. Do you think that's on the horizon?
Well, I think there's still enough law that if the judge wanted to sentence him, the judge could have sentenced him. This is a little different than the Standford situation, where at least he did apologize. That's something, as opposed to in Standford, where it was like, hail the conquering hero, and his father sent out, I think, an email or Facebook post basically saying his son was in the right. I mean, the Standford situation was just so horrible. And if you read what the victim in that case wrote, a 7,000-word description of what it was like to be raped and then go into the courtroom, it's really, clearly the judge in this Boulder case did not read it, because it's really an amazing piece of writing.
David, you're our esteemed lawyer at the table. Do you think it's a problem with the law or the judge?
I think it's a problem with the law, and the Boulder Daily Camera did a really good investigatory article about the problem with Colorado's rape sentencing laws. And the way they are now is the judge basically has, and many judges have said this, the choice is either probation or an indeterminate sentence up to life. And, you know, a judge has to say, well, you know, if the right sentence would be 6 years and you're giving me a choice between probation or life, well, probation is closer to that, and so I think the laws ought to be reformed so that you could sentence somebody to prison, but for less than life.
Kristen, wrap it up for us. What do you think?
I would hate to see these cases lead us to a line of getting back to mandatory or taking away judicial discretion. I think we all recognize that having no wiggle room for judges, or they can't use any discretion, leads to not making anybody safer, but to a lot of unjust sentences. So I think it's important. I actually would agree with Boulder County District Attorney Stan Garnett, who said this is a time for reflection and discussion, and I'm not saying that the sentencing guidelines shouldn't change, but that the issue here is reaching out to judges, and if the voters can hold the judges accountable, that's probably a good reason too.